can't hear my headphones looking at it. What is up? There we go. We are back and black in the building. We made it back another day, another 10 cents. It's another 10 cents for us, for melanated people.
Another $1 for me.
And another $350,000 for another $350 for white folks, but 10 cents for us. Shout out to everybody out there that's at the Court Plantation. You already know what it is. I thought we'd hit you up. I got my boy Nick in here. We're going to get right into it. Shout out to everybody that's out there that's working right now. Shawnee, Mix of Health, all y'all black and noble, all the people that's out there on their health kick. We just got off the Court Plantation as it is, so sorry we running a little bit late, but that was because of my black ass. And if the internet start tripping, don't matter, we recording this shit, so I don't give a fuck. Shout out to everybody out there that is doing what they need to do to survive, so we about to get into it. Make sure you handling business. If you're not, then get the fuck away from me. Because I've been clowning sucker free since 2003. Ain't no finessing me. Shout out to everybody out there that's not finessing, but working real hard. Shout out to everybody that's on the CMOS. I know you are on it.
Yes, sir.
I just took 2 scoops. I hope I didn't take too much, man, because that shit had me feeling like a motherfucking dope fiend. But anyway, we'll get into that shit in a minute. Shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to my man. I'm blanking on my man. This brother that I met on Billy Carson's app. I'm going to talk about him. So shout out to him. He from Canada. If he's watching this, he know who it is. We was conversing. He was talking to me about racism in Canada, which I didn't know that. So shout out to him. I think his name is Milton, if I'm not mistaken. I'm blanking on your name, brother. Cool brother. He checked out the channel. So shout out to him. And hey, man, we about to get into it right now, man. Hey, man. I'm glad everybody's here. Hey, shout out to everybody that is handling business. Like I said, man, it is no fun being at the Court Plantation. We got my boy Nick in here. Y'all like, damn, hey, Nick gonna be in here a lot, man. This is not no guest feature either. Before we get started though, shout out to Nuke. I can't wait till we get Nuke back in here with Nick. That is gonna be a great panel.
That's gotta happen.
Man, Nuke. Look, matter of fact, while you talking, I'm about to text Nuke right now, man. Because I want Nuke to come in here because I think Nuke is brilliant. Like, actually, I'm going to just be honest. Nuke was like my mentor besides, you know, the lady I always talk about. But she was like my mentor at the Court Plantation because she kind of gained me up a lot on just different things to look at.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And kind of how to be the example. And you don't have to be smiley, but you don't have to be confrontational either. What you can do is, good morning. That's Nuke. You're not going to get no, oh, bitch, you got me fucked up. No, you going to get a, good morning. That's what you get. Literally, I've seen her do that so many times. And it's no negative energy, but it ain't no good energy either. It's bland. You can't say she being mean, but then again, you can't say she being rude.
Right.
She's the mastermind behind that. I've seen her do that shit so many times, and I'm like, damn. And people, they don't fuck with her like that on that. But a lot of people that are jealous and envious of her, and I would say insecure, they have problems with Nuke. And you know why they have problems with Nuke. Because when you're a beautiful melanated sister, you know these white folk don't like that. They like Gabby Sinebe looking bitches.
Oh, man.
That's what they like. They like that. It's easier for them. They don't like, remember I was telling you, it was another sister. Man, she worked at the Court Plantation. This sister, gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, beautiful sister. Degree, all that. I straight out told her to her face. I ain't gonna say her name, but I was like, you know you're not gonna last here. Look at how you look. She started laughing, Nick, like choking on her water. I said, look at how you look.
Right.
I said, are we really finna go there? She was like, damn, Warren, what you trying to say? I said, have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? And have you looked at the mud duck looking Ugmo bitches that walk around here? And she was like, you stupid. I said, it's not gonna last here. So you might as well, you can give it up. But yeah, man, I just want to give a special shout out to Nuke. But man, our title today, we still gonna keep talking about Kim Potter. We're gonna talk about Dante Wright. But the title, I didn't come up with this title. Nick actually came up with the title, Police in America. And we're gonna discuss that and unpack that. I watched that podcast too, the Silverback podcast.
Yeah.
With Van Lathan or whatever. I thought it was good.
Oh, the higher learning one.
Yeah, the higher learning one. And I thought it was good. I did respect those brothers because they were very confident about what they did. I respect that they were like, well, that shit don't go on my watch. I ain't got no kills. Ain't no police brutality complaints on me. So I give them props for that. But I think that they were speaking for their experiences. And I think what we wanted to hear was them co-signing our point of view.
But they weren't. They were co-signing their people's point of view. And when I say their people, I mean the blue, the police,
exactly,
the department.
And here, let's say this.
That's the reason why I had a problem with
it. And let's say this, Nick. I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. What I liked about those brothers were, cause I'm getting older, and I'm trying to read and study, and I go in on law enforcement all the time. But what I can say about those brothers was, they were confident. That's why they don't have all that bullshit on their name.
Right.
Because they are confident people, they are for the people, and they are by the people. And I wish I could have been on that interview, not to be contrarian, not to be oppositional, but to say, but y'all confident niggas though. Y'all confident.
But
y'all, the streets don't pose no threat to y'all because y'all showing respect. We're not talking about y'all. We're talking about the average dominant society person or like-minded dominant society person that comes from a neighborhood that's not of a community of black folk.
Right.
What do you think they're gonna do? And they didn't want to answer those questions. They're very evasive.
Right. And also, they came up with the same excuse that all the other cops come up with. Oh, all cops aren't, bad. There's just some bad apples. That's the problem I have, man.
So what you think? What did you think about the interview? Let's start by this, because I just gave my point of view. Nick, what did you think about the interview? Because I watched the whole thing.
Oh, did you?
So what did you think about it? Yo, take.
Like you said, man, they stuck up for them, and you could tell that they were cool. But at the same time, man, you have to admit that the police force as a whole in every city, I don't care if it's Baltimore, I don't care if it's New York, I don't care if it's Las Vegas, LA, it's all the same shit. And if you can't admit that, then there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are, good cops, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to see that black people are being killed by the masses all over the world. But we'll just talk about the United States for now. All over the country right now. You know what I'm saying? And Rodney King was on tape in 91.
He didn't know he was on tape though. Them cops didn't know he was on tape.
It's 30 years later and we're still having the same problems. So nothing's getting better. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem I have with them, is that they had a hard time admitting that their coworkers are fucking racist, man. And even though you guys are cool and seem like you guys have your shit together, how come you're not doing nothing and saying nothing about anybody else that you see acting a fool? Because you can't tell me that you haven't seen some crazy shit while you were on the force.
I would say this, Nick. I agree with you. When I watched it,
how many times have we seen some fucked up shit at the core plantation where we work at? I mean, just not we ain't fucking cops, but I'm just saying, like, we see fucked up shit at our shit, so you can't tell me that they haven't seen fucked up shit at where they work. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Did you hear that, brother? We're talking about the Silverback podcast, by the way. We want y'all to go check it out. Tasha, when you get a chance, check it out. Shawnee, check it out. Whoever is listening to this, when you get a chance, check
the higher learning.
It's a higher learning podcast. But the Silverback,
those guys,
these are law enforcement police.
Right,
I think they brothers. They might either be Puerto Rican or black, but they look like brothers.
They look mixed.
Yeah, and two, you could tell they were confident.
Right.
Now here's what I did expect. I'm gonna tell you this, Nick. I did expect them to be evasive when it came to those questions. What I didn't like was, and I get it that Van Lathan and the sister, they did a great job not being oppositional, but they were oppositional after, and I felt like you, in my personal opinion, you kind of did a disservice, because I would have been oppositional, but in a very cunning way. Like,
right.
So would it be, that's why you have to be like, well, would it be safe to say that the majority of the dominant white society law enforcement agencies, they see color and they're targeting black folk? Would it be safe to say that? See, that's how you got to come at people like that.
Right.
You can't get to arguing, because those police officers that Van Lathan was interviewing, they were confident people.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? They were confident. That's why they was quick to be like, we don't have those problems in Baltimore.
Right.
We don't have those problems. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but not like, you know, like you said, the white cops are targeting black people, but what are the black cops, the Asian cops, the Hispanic cops? What are they doing to help? You know what I'm saying? Are they going along with the situation? Because it seems like they are. If cops are allowed to get away with the shit that they've been getting away with for fucking hundreds of years, but especially in the last 30 years since we've been videotaping them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You would think when you have a camera on your shoulder, you would fucking straighten up, but that's not gonna stop racism.
I'm trying not to laugh. I'm not laughing at you,
No,
Nick, but the shit is funny because it's like, nigga, you got a camera on you and you still acting a fool? That's because, in my personal opinion, and from my studies and things that I've read, those laws were written to protect the dominant white society.
Right.
People can say this, well, it's the class thing. Man, we can get to that class thing later on down the line. Let's get to my supervisor's doing black tar heroin in the fucking bathroom and he lives in a trailer, but he's still telling me what to do, an educated BA degree having black men. That's racism, white supremacy. That's a system.
If you look at that video, I think it's Lieutenant Nazario. I hope I got his name right. But if you look at that video, man, you got one fucking racist ass cop pepper spraying him, and then you look at the younger cop, and it's almost like he knew that he was fucked up and he was doing the wrong thing. He was trying to get like, hey man, just get out of the car so we can get this shit over with, because I don't want your ass to get beat. But at the same time, instead of checking the fucking cop, you checking the dude that's actually has his hands out the window, ain't doing shit, and says, hey man, I don't feel safe. Can you guys put your fucking guns away real quick before I get out? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit I'm talking about.
No, you're right.
All cops are like that, man. All cops are like the younger cop that was in that video. Like, oh man, please, man, come on, man. I don't want this. Oh wait, okay, yeah, go ahead, do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right, because it's a code. Now let's revisit. I hate to do this. Y'all niggas know how I am. Let's revisit this though, Nick. Chris Darner.
oh man.
Christopher Darner. He tried to do the right thing, and hey, this police officer is using excessive force. We're not protecting and serving. You're abusing your authority.
Right.
What did they do? They turned on him, made him the outcast, the bad people. No, he was the bad guy to the bad people, but
Right.
they made him the villain.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, well, I'm the villain? Well, I'll be y'all villain then.
So-
But
so-
I'm going
so-
to be a villain for real, though.
So how do you tell black men, especially black men, to just cooperate? Don't argue back. Just do what you're told. How can you say that anymore? Because
it don't work.
So
yeah.
many of these people are doing that, man, and they're still getting killed. They're still getting beat. They're still getting fucking harassed, man. So it's not doing nothing.
You know, you right, dog.
And this is the thing.
You right. You right. I can't even look. I'm like, I can't even justify that because you're right. Because you can't tell. Because to me, before you make your point, they always give us a diagram breakdown of what we're supposed to do to comply to make them feel safe.
Right.
But Philando Castile had a license to carry and told y'all, and that man shot. He could have shot and killed his daughter.
Right.
He just shot into the car. You know he's out walking around today,
Right.
not even feeling guilty. I said this on a podcast a while ago. I think this, Nick, if they put into law that if you kill someone in it with impunity and you are found guilty of racial discrimination, violating civil rights, if you even found guilty in one count, you lose your pension and you're going to prison for 15 years. General population.
Right.
How many cops do you think they'll be like, man, I'm not shooting a motherfucker then.
Right.
Fuck that. And you will be sued and liable. And we will not back you. And ain't no more police union. Fuck a police union. What do you think these police officers would do?
You know, I would hope to say that they would stop shooting people. But you know what, man? Oh, from what I've seen, I don't think they would, man. I just think it would continue, and I think it would get sneakier and sneakier. And
You're right. It would get sneakier, but we talking about the bold-faced killings.
Right.
Motherfuckers will be like, nah, I ain't doing that shit.
Right.
I'll let you have this one.
Right.
Because fuck that. I'm not finna lose my pension, and then if I'm prosecuted, not only could I go to jail for 15 years, but you can sue me civilly and take whatever I have. Because it all results to money, dog.
Yep.
If motherfuckers knowing they gonna lose their bread and their paper, especially if you say, oh, and if you're the police chief over that section and one of your officers shoots killed, you're liable too.
Right.
I don't care, because that means you didn't train him thoroughly. So now you're going to lose your pension. When it starts affecting motherfuckers, then motherfuckers to be like, wait, hold on. Hey, man, you better put your motherfucking gun away.
Right. So this is why I wanted to talk about this, man, because, you know, my grandpa had said something to me like 15 years ago that I've thought about ever since then. Because why? Because these situations keep coming up, man, to where it forces you to think about it. But he did like a year in Vietnam, man, with the Army.
Uh-huh.
And he brought this up 15 years ago to me, and he said, why is it that when I was in an active war zone, now we can argue about why we were in Vietnam. I don't fucking agree with it, but that's a whole other argument. But why am I in an active war zone and I could literally have a motherfucker point an assault rifle at me and I have to wait for him to shoot at me before I can return fire? I can't shoot him because he's threatening me, because he's talking shit, because he pointed his fucking gun at me. I have to wait until he shoots his gun at me before I can return fire. If that's the rule for them in these, you know, war zones, why is it the police that are policing us can shoot unarmed people, can shoot a motherfucker for being quiet and cooperative, can shoot a motherfucker for being you know, oppositional and arguing? It doesn't matter. It has no effect on anything. They will shoot you because you're black, man. Because when I get pulled over, I just don't have to worry like that. I've never thought one time like, man, I might not go home tonight.
Man, look, you know what? I remember one time you was telling me this story. You was telling me the story how when you was riding by yourself. I know you remember. This is a while back. You was like, man, Warren, when I be riding by myself, I get pulled over, they take my license, and really, it's gravy train. It ain't really nothing. But when I'm with my homeboys,
yeah, one time specifically,
they searched the car. They made y'all get out the car and do all this other shit, right?
Man, they pulled up next to me, and the dude almost kind of gave me a head nod at first, like almost like, hey man, what's up? As he's like next to me, he pulls a little bit in front of me and looks to see who I have in my passenger seat. He can't see who's in the back.
Yep.
And my windows were tinted in the back, but I guess it's okay for me to have tinted windows. He sees who's in the passenger seat, and he literally slams on his brakes, gets behind me, and flashes his lights like that.
I believe you.
There was 4 of us in the car. All 4 of us got out. And it was like, what the fuck, man? So...
And remember, you were like, it was totally different from when you was driving by yourself. Because, like you said, if you driving by yourself, they'll just give you a head nod.
I don't ever have to worry about when I'm driving. Even with other white people, I don't ever have to worry. But there's one time I had one black person in the passenger seat. The other 2 were white people, and all 4 of us had to get out of the car. We had nothing on us. We weren't doing nothing. I had fucking good plates. I had registration. I had proof of insurance. None of it fucking mattered, because I must be up to no good for having a black dude in my car.
Yep.
Just the same way that dude, I don't know if you remember from a couple years ago, the lady went to Walmart and called the cops on this black dude because he was watching 2 white kids. He was babysitting 2 white kids, and she literally followed him around the neighborhood. Police came. Police pulled the kids out of the car, questioned them. They were like, yep, he's our babysitter. That wasn't good enough. They called the parents. Yep, that's the babysitter. That wasn't good enough. The parents had to come down and literally identify who the babysitter was. And then it was like, oh, okay, it's all good now. This is the shit that people have to go through, man.
Now, I told this, I think it was either with Nuke. Look, I'm looking for Nuke so I can text her right now. But for all those who are Las Vegans, as yourself, me too, even though I'm not from here, but I've been here so long. In the early 2000s, I'm talking about like 2000, 2001 to 2003, they were remodeling the West Side, like changing of the guard. They had to redo a lot of the streets on the West Side because my mom's lived on the West Side. And Washington, in between Washington and MLK and Washington and D Street, was all fucking tore up. Like, you couldn't even drive down there. They tore up the whole street, basically, because they were switching the sewers in the canals and the aqueducts or whatever that's under the ground. You know, so the water could drainage or whatever. Because
It used to get filled up.
yeah, Washington would flood a lot.
Right.
Not the west side, but Washington would flood a lot. So you would have to get off the freeway. If you live in Las Vegas, you would know what I'm talking about. You have to get off the freeway to get on the west side, and you have to go around D and go all the way around and take another street, go off on Jackson, because my mom's lived on Adams.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have to basically go all the way around. Now, this is the west side. This is nothing new to me. It don't bother me, because it don't bother me. My mom lived there for years. Family over there, friends, people. Well, this one particular night, like I told you, I was in 2 production crews. I was in an all-black production crew, and I was in a production crew where I was the only black person. It was my Jewish homeboy, Zev, at the time, and this other dude named PJ. And Zev lived on the other side of town. Zev lived in 89121. He lived over there, Pecos and Trop area. You know those condos? I don't even know if you still live over there. You wouldn't even think they condos, but they always keep them up nice.
Yep.
The yard ain't never fucked up.
Right.
The grass is always landscaped and manicured and shit. He lived in there, and it still looked that way to this day. So we'd be at his crib working on beats, Fruity Loops. Well, he'd be like, man, I'll come get you, man, if, you know what I'm saying, if somebody needs to use your whip or whatever, your car. We didn't say whip then, we said car or transpo. I'm like, all right, for sure, he'll come and get me. We'll go over there and do his beats. Long story short story long, he takes me home. It's like, I'm about to drop my phone. It's like, probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. He takes me home. We get off the freeway. I'm like, yeah. He's like, damn, what the fuck is going on over here? I'm like, yeah, man, they remodeling the street. So you got to go, when you get off on D, we got to go up the street and go around, because they had it all tore up. So you basically had to go get off on Lake Mead and then take Lake Mead down to like Jackson and then, you know, West Side streets.
Right.
We get to a 4-way stop. I mean, damn near where the Variety Day home used to be, which is not there no more. Probably about 30 seconds away from 88.1. We get to a 4-way stop. It's a 4-way stop. Mm-hmm. Metro. He's facing north. We're facing west.
Okay.
We get to the stop. He gets there first. We stop. We wait for him to go. He don't go. We just waiting there. I'm like, hey, man, just pull over, because he's about to pull us over.
Right.
Of course, my Jewish homeboy is like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And of course, we drive past. He look and see, because he didn't have no tinted windows. So he looks and sees who's in the car. White dude, black dude. Light him up. Boop. He gets behind us. Lights bright as fuck. I'm used to it. I got my hands out and everything. It's just like some Will Smith shit with Carlton. Put your hands on the wheel, Carlton, that type shit.
Right.
He's like, how you guys doing tonight? I didn't even say nothing. I just looked straight. He was like, license, can I get your license? He even asked for registration. My boy Zev, I wonder if Zev remember this. Zev gives him his license. He looks. He said, so what are you guys doing tonight? Zev's like, well, what did you pull us over for? He was like, oh, I pulled you guys over because you guys were taking a long time going to the stop sign. My boy Zev was like, you had the right of way. You were at the stop sign first. He's like, he signs the light. He's like, you got your license? I'm like, yeah, I get my license. You don't have a wallet? I'm like, no. I lost my wallet, so I just carry my license on me. Boop. Cali license at the time. So what are you doing out here? I'm like, I live out here. He's like, why you got his license? Because I haven't changed it over. Then Zev is like, why are you asking him all these questions? Just talking. He's like, so you guys got any drugs on you? Then that's when he's like, no, I don't have no drugs on me, and neither does he. We don't have drugs on us. He's like, well, why your pupils look dilated? He's like, my pupils look dilated. Are you a doctor? It was like, and if my pupils are dilated, maybe because I have a prescription. This is before a prescription and opioid epidemic. So he really didn't know what to say after that.
Right.
So now he kind of backtracking. And I'm just sitting there like, here we go with this shit. And he's like, well, where y'all getting ready to go? my boy Zeb was like, I'm taking my friend home. He was like, from where? He was like, he lives in those houses right there. Literally across the street. Literally not even across the street. And he was like, so where do you live at? I'm like, exactly where he said I live, right across the street. This is no story, no joke. We was there for about 45 fucking minutes. By that time, another police officer had pulled up. Then another police officer pulled up. Then after that, he was like, well, do y'all got any drugs on y'all? And Zed was like, man, we told you we don't have no drugs, man. It's like, well, your pupils look dilated. He was like, man, I told you I have a prescription for Ritalin. And he really did have a prescription, and he didn't take it because he even said, I don't like the way I feel when I take that shit, and it makes me feel fucked up. And he had stopped taking it, so his body was having a natural reaction. Like, literally, he didn't have to tell me, but I had already knew. So I knew he wasn't lying. He was like, look, man, this is really none of your business.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I have a prescription for what I have going on. You're not no doctor. He was like kind of going in. He was like, so you don't have no drugs? He's like, I told you he don't have no drugs either. He's like, where you live at? We already told you where we live. Then another dude came up and pulled up and was like, so what's your name? And I was like, the same name that's on that ID. And then he was like, so y'all don't have no drugs? No, y'all don't have no water? And Zed was like, man, what the fuck is that? And I was like, sure, man. Wet, PCP. He's like, yeah, your friend knows what it is. It's how your friend, he's like, how you know what it is? This is a true story. I said, because my cousin, Tasha know who we talking about. I said, my cousin graduated from mortuary science school, and she told me that's what they use. And when I said mortuary science, he didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I was like, embalming bodies?
Right.
And then I just sat there, and he didn't know what to say. And then he was like, hey, man, are you guys giving us a ticket, arresting us, or what, man? Because this guy has to go home. We got to go to school because we were going to community college at the time. He's like, well, since you guys don't have no water or anything like that on you guys or no Coke or nothing like that, then I'll go ahead and I'll let you guys go with a warning. So it was like, a warning for what? We didn't even do anything, man. Right. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, Zed, man, just be easy, dog. And he was like, that's bullshit. Then after that, they went back to their car, had the lights on us, waiting. Literally, it was almost an hour, bro. And then finally, they gave us our shit back, and finally, they let us go. And after that, I was like, bro, from now on, get off on Martin Luther King. Don't even get off on Lake Mead. Because, sometimes, get off on Martin Luther King, man, it be police right there, too.
Right.
And I'm like, just get off on Martin Luther King, bro.
Because the station's right up the street.
Exactly. And I'm like, just get off on Martin Luther King, and we'll just take our chances there because we don't look as suspect. And he was like, what you mean suspect? I was like suspected criminals, dog.
Listen, I know you weren't driving in that instance, but, like Martin says in national security, driving while black.
Driving while black.
If you black in a car, you have no chance. You have no chance regardless, man. But it's so stupid because you know what, man? Shout out to all you cops that called 3 backup cars just to help you with one black dude. Y'all never called no backup when you pulled me over.
Because you're not a threat.
Right.
Remember I told you, this system is here to protect the dominant white society. There's a book called In the Matter of Color, and it breaks down like status and law and all these laws that were written. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That book is so difficult to read because of all the slave laws and all the shit. Like, when I got to like the 3rd or 4th chapter, I would get angry and get headaches. And I would have to stop and put the book down. That book did that to me. And the ISIS papers did that to me. Because of some of the shit she was saying, I was like, damn, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But it fucked me up reading that book, man. That's why I know that these laws are written to protect the dominant white society.
Right.
I just think black folk think, no diss to everybody. I want you to know the law. Remember we used to have these conversations, know the law. But don't know the law and be walking around here acting like they ain't gonna hem you up. They don't give a fuck about you knowing the law. Don't be a smart ass either because you can know the law and they can still jam your ass up and fuck with you. This is the dominant society. This is their game rules.
This is why they joined the force.
Man.
Because they want to shoot black people. And now you're giving them a chance. But like I said, man, I used to say to all my friends, hey, man, just relax, dude. Don't talk back. Let's just fucking get through this shit. I can't say that shit no more. I really can't, man. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you can do because guess what? They want to shoot you anyway.
Exactly. Shout out to Tasha. Tasha, she said she listening. Where Miss Wendy at? I ain't seen Miss Wendy in the chat in a minute. Tell Miss Wendy I said hello. But I will tell you this, man. It is a different experience when you're dealing with the police, because a lot of times, and sometimes the black police officers, they're worse than the white ones because they really want to abuse their authority. You know what I mean? I always relate it back to the court plantation. How many times have you worked at a court plantation and you done seen some white person abuse their authority, use their white privilege to do certain things to black folk? Not to every other racial group, but strategically and specifically to black folk.
Man,
how many times have you seen it?
It's a daily thing, man. It really is. It's a daily thing at the court plantation, bro.
Daily, huh?
Man.
What do you think?
And then they try to claim that there's no white privilege.
Oh man, because they worked real hard.
Right.
Why?
They earned everything they got.
Hey Nick, remember? We used to have some cold conversations. Remember Nick when I was just like, remember I told you I said, black folk have to establish their own template of success. Remember I was like, I don't know if I even told you this. I remember we would talk, but I would always say this. Stop telling black kids they can be Jeff Bezos. You cannot be Jeff Bezos. You know why? Jeff Bezos got, you know how much money his parents gave him in the 80s? $350,000 to start Amazon.
Man.
You know what that equates to today? $3.5 million.
Right.
So how many black folks you know getting $3.5 million?
Not very many.
Remember how I was talking about Obama? Did you know that Obama's grandmother? $450,000.
Right.
Did you know that?
No,
Didn't
know
that, huh?
Because of you.
Didn't know that his stepdad, Barry, his real name is Barry Soetoro, and his stepdad had a lot of ties with BP oil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you remember the Obama administration, didn't he go out his way to do things for BP oil?
Yeah, he did. It's kind of a coincidence, right?
Very privileged. And see, when Donald Trump was like, well, I want your birth certificate, that was a dog whistle of, hello, y'all. This motherfucker ain't what y'all looking at me crazy, but this ain't who y'all think he is. He wasn't a foundational black American. That's why it was so easy for him not to do anything and have benign neglect. See what I'm saying? So that is just as dangerous as a white person walking around talking about they ain't got white privilege. Because it's like, what do you mean? To me, when I hear people say that, I just laugh at it. And then the first thing I say is, stop. You know you benefit from it. What do you mean? When the police pull you over, you know you benefit from it. Because you can talk crazy to the police, and 9 times out of 10, they going to let you say whatever the fuck you want to say. I've seen it happen a million times.
In all aspects of life, man. When you walk into a store, you get treated really good. When you at the court plantation, you get treated really good. You move up. It's in all aspects, man. But the only difference is that the fucking cops got a gun on their waist and that they legally can fucking shoot you and then get a paid vacation until they get found innocent.
Well, what about
and return to full duty?
Nick, what about? Okay, I like that. I'll throw this one at you. You're right. The cops got a gun. I would say the corporate plantation managers and supervisors and presidents and coordinators, whatever the fuck you want to call it, they have a gun. Their gun is white privilege. They could take away your eating. They could take away the food off of your plate if they really wanted to. Matter of fact, they do it. I see it all the time.
Try to take away your title.
Oh man, they'll take away your title, and here's what I've learned too about the dominant society's white fragility. I was looking at that book when I wanted to show you those other books because that lady's not that lying. Robin DiAngelo's not lying. Them motherfuckers will be like, this country's going to shit because white folk are not in charge. And I be looking like, man, what the fuck planet are y'all on?
Right.
Every fucking corporate plantation, who do you see? Look, let's just name, Nick. Let's just name the people that we see every day in the public. Jeff Bezos, your boy Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Microsoft. No, not Microsoft, and Apple. Those are all white people. Right. Oh, my bad. And Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett. That's 5 white people that run the stock market. They can manipulate it to whatever they want it to be. But you want to tell me that this system is not a system of racism, white supremacy? Like, how do you even justify that? That's crazy to me to be like, no, bro. Like, because you know what they do? They tell us, well, we have Obama. Like, There is no more racism.
I was just about to say that, man. Like I said, dude, they'll let one black person get into the group, and all of a sudden, it's going downhill. One black person move in your neighborhood, and there goes the neighborhood. One black person gets hired at your work, and they don't hire black people, or they don't hire white people anymore. So, it's either for them, they want it 100% white, or people that pass for white, because it makes them feel comfortable, right? As soon as one black person comes in, all of a sudden they start focusing all their attention on that person, and stop looking at the 200 other people that are surrounding them. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, you right. You know what? This is what I think. Nick, this is what we've seen it. I just think they want niggas to just shut up and dribble. Just shut the fuck up and do your job. Matter of fact, we want you just be a good nigga. And that's why I be making those jokes on my podcast. Like, hey man, I wasn't even there. Oh, well, you're a nigga. So don't even worry about it. Because that's how they feel.
But even if you shut up and dribble, they're still gonna find a problem, man.
They gonna find a problem.
That's my thing, man. There's nothing that you can do for these motherfuckers not to have a problem, man. They don't like black people. And if you're black, they have a problem.
Facts. And it ain't gonna change it. You know what I found interesting too? Is how they'll deflect so much. But you know what? You have to be cunning. And you know how you can be cunning? You gotta do that nuke. And it's just very kind of like, no problem. Or you gotta do the Nilly Fuller Jr. Well, what do you want me to do?
Right.
What do you want me to do? What is it I can do? Why would you say that?
Right.
Because once you start doing that, they kind of could see like, oh, okay, well, this is not a dummy. Because I feel like they play on our emotions. They know that black folk, for the most part, are emotional people. That's why I had to learn, not even really through trial and error, but more like, okay, I just need to become compartmentalized and just store it up in a little bitty box, because they want you to be emotional. And I feel like a lot of times they like black folk arguing on the corporate plantation. And I think that police officers like black folk get into it because it justifies killing somebody. It's an easier kill.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's an easier like, oh, I can go in here and do what I want, because look, they not organized anyway.
And that brings up a good point. That's another reason why I didn't totally agree with those two from the Silverback podcast, man, because they said something about, oh well, they pointed out an instance, and they said, oh, that was a good shoot. A good shoot, man. How about no shoot? How about you keeping your fucking gun in your holster, man?
But you know why? Because those brothers are brothers that are not well versed on educating themselves about the system.
And who do cops hang out with, man? They hang out with other cops.
Yeah, they don't hang out with other people.
Right.
Like, there was a podcast I did, and I was talking about this brother that I met at the Caesar's Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, let me tell you this, Nick, bro. This shit would have had you dying, bro. That's why we got to start hitting the streets with that gimbal and shit, too. Bro, I just happened to be at Fat Tuesdays, and I was like, I'm going to give me a little drink. Relax. Man, I was getting that drink. When I saw him, because, they pay police officers overtime to be security for the Apple store. Right. People don't know that.
Right.
They pay. That doesn't come out of Metro's budget. Apple is paying Metro to stand outside. Like, we're not even gonna hire security. We want the police to be here, because motherfucking niggas that take them motherfucking MacBook Pros and run out the store with them and fuck you up. No, nigga, we gonna put a police officer right here. Go to these Apple stores, you gonna see a motherfucking cop. You know where you don't see a police officer at? Downtown Summerlin. That's the only MacBook Pro store that you never really see any police.
I wonder why. Is it because there's a lot of white people that live in downtown Summerlin?
Right.
Oh,
because that zip code is what, 89135? Mm-hmm. So you don't see it there, but you go anywhere else, you see it. So I was just kind of like, I was taken back by that. And when I seen the brother, I was laughing, dog. I couldn't. I was laughing so hard, Nick. You know what he did? And I was just thinking like, man, I hope this nigga don't say nothing to me. The nigga was laughing too, because he knew what I was laughing at. Because I'm like, you're supposed to be protecting and serving, but you up here guarding some MacBook Pros? Nigga, it's real crime out there, man.
Right.
But man, I talked to that brother for about 45 minutes, Nick. Like, I think once he saw I wasn't on no bullshit, that made him even more wanted to talk to me, because I was laughing, but not laughing at him, but laughing like, I'm like, he heard me. I said, oh, they got my nigga here guarding computers. He heard that shit and he said, what's up? And came out of the store. We chopped it up for like 45 minutes. I wanted to interview him so bad, dog, but I was like, I thought about doing an interview where you can't see him because I don't want to jeopardize nobody's job. But the brother was telling me so many stories, Nick, about like, the nigga was, let me tell you something. He is the definition of a whistleblower. This nigga was not like aiding and abetting the racism. The nigga was calling out all the shit. He was like, look, bro, he's like, I date all types of people, sisters, white girls, all of them. But he was like, basically like, but I don't play that racist shit. He's like, and I think cause motherfuckers see me putting on a uniform, like, oh, I'm gonna be with that shit. He's like, bro, them motherfuckers do not fuck with me. And this is exactly how he was talking to me, man. First of all, he had a beard. And he knew I was kind of educated. I said it on my podcast. I said, hey, man, you're not supposed to have no beard. I said, the last brother that had a beard, they fired him, and he won because he had to go to a dermatologist. He said, I did the same thing.
Oh, shit.
He's like, yeah, that's the only reason why they don't fuck with me. He's like, man, you know. I was like, yeah, I read the newspaper. Right. This brother had a beard like mine, and they was like tripping with him and writing him up and fucking with him. And he was like, bro, he went to his dermatologist, and the dermatologist was like, he has bad skin. If he starts shaving, he's going to break out. And he had a note. They was like, no, they fired him. That motherfucker won. He sued, and he got his pension and all his money and all that shit. And me and the brother was talking.
So the question I have for you then is he one of the few people that do that, or is there more black officers like him? Would you think? Like,
I asked him. I said, hey man, what do you think about all the racist shit, man, and stuff like that? He said, oh, dog, you don't understand. Everything you saying is right. Cause I'm looking out for him. Hey man, your camera ain't on. I'm like,
because I don't think that black cops target black people.
No,
I just don't think they help situations, man.
No, this is exactly. Look, I'm like, hey man, I told him, I said, hey, look, I ain't got no phones or nothing, so I'm not secretly recording you and no shit. I want to have a real convo with you. And he was like, no, for sure. He got to talking. I had to tell him, hey man, that ain't on, is it? He's like, oh no, you good. Cause I'm like, cause he was saying real shit. Right. And I know how we get. Look, man, when black folk get around black folk, there's an energy that's transferable that we pick up off. I'm telling you, that melanin is a motherfucker, and we can pick up on that. And there's a vibe. It's like music. When you turn on music and it's something that's just undeniable, everybody is clicking. The vibe, the energy is corresponding, and so the energy is so high you can't deny it. You see what I'm saying? So when we got to talking, bro, that energy was so. People was looking at us like we was crazy because they couldn't believe. Me and him was talking like that. A lot of the people in the store was looking at him crazy too because he wasn't in there smiling with nobody. I think they thought I knew him, but I didn't even know him. Man, he was saying all kinds of shit. He was like, nah, dog, you right. He was like, these motherfuckers racist as fuck. He's like, they scared of black folk. They be programmed to be racist and scared of black folk. So they think shoot first, solve the problem later. He was saying all kinds of shit. He was like, bro, I didn't have to check so many partners. He was saying this shit, dog. Like, I had to check so many people. He was like, it gets to the point where when we get to a traffic stop or something, if it's black people, I'm quick to be like, man, just let me handle this. Because y'all be doing too much, man.
Right.
Hey, y'all got woo-woo. Y'all got woo-woo. All right, man, look, we gonna write you this ticket, man. Go on about your way. He's like, with me, dog, I don't never had none of those problems. He's like, but it's always my white counterparts. They always have issues with black folk. He's like, they don't have issues with nobody else, but they have issues with my own people. But then they want to sit up here and talk about blue lives, the blue code and shit. Right. Oh, he was saying, but I would never jeopardize a brother's job. I don't care how wicked the job is to most people, but I felt like it was my duty to have that energy and that conversation with him. Because maybe it was just shit he wanted to get off his chest, man. Right. Man, we literally talked, Nick, for like 45, almost a damn near an hour. I damn near finished my damn whole Fat Tuesdays because we was talking about shit. Now, did he say that they didn't target people, to answer your question? Hell yeah. He was like, I would almost rather police my community because it's easier.
That's what has to happen. Police your own community, but do exactly what he did when they pull up to a traffic stop and he's with his white partners. Say, hey, no, I got this. Because you know what? We're never going to fix white cops unless you fix white supremacy.
Man.
Because it's all one system, right? I'm serious, man. But like, there was a time I got pulled over by a white cop. He comes up. I have a warrant out for my arrest, man. It was something stupid. I just didn't show up to court for a traffic ticket.
Ain't that a bitch? You don't show up for a traffic ticket and they just put it into a warrant?
Yeah, so I had a bench warrant, and I get pulled over. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. So as soon as he asked me for my ID, I have a warrant. He goes, for what? I said, just unpaid traffic tickets. He's like, oh, as long as it's not for murder. I was like, oh, okay. He walked right back to the car, gave me my ticket, and we went about my way.
You know I would have went to jail, right?
Oh, man, you would have been pulled out of the car right away. As soon as you'd been like, what? For what? You know what I'm saying? It's just there's two different worlds out there, man, and that's what people, especially cops, they don't see, man. They just don't see it because you know what? You got white cops living in Henderson, but patrolling North Las Vegas, patrolling the West Side. You know what? You're gonna see shit that you don't see in your neighborhood. For example.
Elaborate on that.
And this is not just talking about cops. This is talking about everything. If you live in Henderson and you walk to your corner store, you're probably not going to see a homeless dude asking you for a cigarette, asking you for some change. You're not going to do it. But guess what? Go to the west side, go to the north side, go to the east side.
You don't see that all day.
You're going to see it all the time. It's just certain things you're not going to see in your own neighborhood. So get out there. And instead of just doing traffic stops and arresting people, pull over, talk to people, make them feel comfortable. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Facts.
But create a bond. Stop rolling through these neighborhoods with looking like you're coming with a fucking SWAT team. Have you seen the tanks they got?
Oh man. But
dude.
You know what, Nick, man? You right, bro. But you know what? That is for people who are anti-cipher. You know, I always quote the Matrix. We're talking about people that don't want a blue pill smoothie. If they want a blue pill smoothie, they'll look at you like you crazy and be like, I'm not fucking going to no other town and communicating with none of them black folk. Fuck them. Because you got to think, a lot of these people, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says, genetic annihilation. A lot of these people, this is generations of racism being taught from generation to generation. Genetic annihilation, fear of a black planet. You got that side. Then you got the Dr. Claude Anderson side, the resources side. I'm not sharing my resources. Why do you think Jane Elliott was quick? She's quick. Her and Tim Wise. Go look them up. Go look up. I'm going to send you this podcast this brother did. Dope. Man, he let her have it. Because she basically was like, reparations? Oh, her whole energy changed. That's why anybody that's known me, I've always looked at Jane Elliott and Tim Wise, especially Tim Wise. From the minute I heard him with that twang, I was like, when I hear because my mom and my daddy raised me to be around black people. Now, once I started listening to that, I get the Deion Cole with the motherfucker. You know how Deion Cole do a thing, and he be writing down the pedal, or like Martin, 2 checks for BDB. I'm like, okay, I can ask BDB. Or I can ask Cole, but he ain't too bright. Let's see.
Right.
Because I'll just tell you this, Nick. It is very easy for white people to come amongst black folk and talk about racism. But if you notice, every white person that I've come across and I've read about, with the exception of John Brown, and the exception of these people that's in this book, The Burglary, with the exception of these people, they always be talking about everything about racism, this, that. They're not giving us information of what's being said when we're not in the room. 2, they talk about shit we already know.
Because they're trying to continue the fucking thing.
Exactly.
They're trying to continue the system.
But then, check it out, Nick. But once you get on fucking reparations, remember, we talk about this all the time.
They'll flip.
Oh, my God. Have you seen Jay Elliott? Nick, literally, this is what she did. She was like, I want you to go look that up. It's like, reparations? Oh, well, we need to give it to the Native Americans. You that's what you want? Oh, you want those type of reparations? That's what you want? That brother was like, no, we're not the Native Americans. They already got their reparations. They signed their treaties. I'm talking about what we deserve. She was like, oh, so you want TPs and you want that? He was like, well, yeah, we deserve reparations. Native Americans already signed their peace treaties. They already got their reservations. They got their casinos in their land. I'm talking about foundational black Americans who deserve it. Oh, but why would you want what they want? We got to start with the Native Americans first. It's like, Nick, that's like me paying you to build my house And then you be like, hey, Warren, man, I need my bread, dog.
Right.
I laid the foundation, I built the house. And I'm like, you? Well, what about the electrician and the painter?
Right.
You like, but dog, they painted it. And I built the house. But what about the guy who did the landscape? You want what he got? You'll be like, man, I don't give a fuck about the landscape, motherfucker. Where's my fucking money you owe me for building your house, man?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
That's the same exact thing. That's what she did. And that right there let me know I was right about her too. Because when you start, I'm telling you this right now, Nick, you go around any of these other dominant society people, they're not gonna like you because you're gonna smell it on them. Oh yeah, you full of shit. This is just this is a money making tool for you. You don't really give a fuck about replacing that system.
Right.
You just want to get paid and you want to be honored by black folk. Because you know, in my personal opinion, a lot of black folk, we love it when other racial groups say one thing to defend us. Then we go on this whole inviting a nigga to the barbecue. Oh,
Man,
they for
great.
us.
They great.
They great. They for us. They you know, and I've always been that person, like, as Nearly Fuller Jr. teaches, I don't care what they showed you. I'm talking about what they showing me.
Right.
Until they prove otherwise, that's who they are. And the reason why I bring up Tim Wise is because this is gonna fuck you up. Tim Wise was talking shit about the Queen Mother, the Honorable Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. He called her study pseudoscience bullshit. Don't nobody even know he did that. I knew though. You know why? Because I was already looking at him. I said, you doing too much talking and making too much money, but what are you doing? Why is it every time you give us these speeches, there's never no reciprocity attached to it? Right. There's never no, okay, we need to replace this system, and black folk not only need to be treated fairly and equal, they need money because they built the country. You know, there's a lot of those people, they don't never talk about repayment, Nick.
No, man.
You notice that?
They don't want to repay you.
Say it again.
No, man. This is the thing.
My bad.
I kind of wonder what the world would be like if white people still wanted to keep the system the same, but chose to pay reparations to black people. What would that look like?
If they chose to pay reparations to black folk.
Because that's the thing. I always go back to they don't want to change the system, and they always want to have black people way down here. So that's the reason why I always thought that they didn't want to have reparations. But
I'll tell you this. If they kept the system the same, and let's just say they gave 40 million black folk $60 trillion, make it where it's, or 60, or let's just say 100 trillion. Let's say they made it. Let's say they made it, Nick, where every black person that's a foundational black American, that's a descendant of a slave who built this country, gets $20 million, right? Right? Let's just say they did that. I know it's not enough. Let's just say they did that. Nick, let me tell you what they do. They'd be like, oh, just to let you guys know, that $20 million, we're changing the currency. So you have to trade that currency in for a new currency. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get 10 cents to the dollar on that currency you have to trade in for this currency.
Right.
And then everybody else on this side already got a whole bunch of money. Because what do you think they did with Thomas Jefferson in there? Bro, these motherfuckers
we're finally using crypto now.
Yeah, we're using crypto. Oh, and since Bitcoin is $60,000 a coin, we bought up all the coins.
Right.
So that's what they would do. Let me tell you why they would do this. Thomas Jefferson and the rest of those white supremacists was auctioning off land they don't even own. This is not even their country. This is not even their land. That's why I don't like people singing that this land is your land, this land is mine. No. This land is my land. Right. We built this motherfucker, not y'all. And how are you gonna auction off shit that ain't even yours? That's like me coming in your house and auctioning off all your shit in here. You be like, dude, what are you doing? You don't even live here. And that's what they did. And then motherfuckers like, okay, well, let's just give them 40 acres and a mule. They was just like, yeah, okay, cool. You know. And then when it came time to give it out, Andrew Jackson was like, man, fuck these niggas. We not giving them shit.
There's a part in Slavery by Another Name where this slave owner ended up having a mixed kid.
Yes.
And he felt bad about it.
So he
Later in
left the
life,
land.
So he left the land.
They
to
deemed him insane.
He died. The white dude died, and they came along. They were basically like, "You don't own this motherfucker." "Yeah, I do, man. My the slave master left it to me." No, the fuck he didn't.
And then they went. They noticed. Tasha noticed. What they did was, I'm glad you read that. See, I like that you read these books because you know I ain't bullshit. Them motherfuckers was like, so he left the land to you? Okay, well, let's just get together, and since we write the laws, well, we're changing the law. We deemed that white man insane because ain't no white man gonna leave their property to no niggas. And that was it. Guilty, nigga, you're not getting it. And then he was like, well, it's not my land. Well, it's not your land anymore. And that's exactly what they did. And they put that into law, that if a white man leaves his land to a slave, he's insane.
Right.
Does that not fuck you up?
But what is the right number for enslaving people for 500 years? What is the right number for kidnapping people from Africa? I mean, how you can't go far back for your ancestry. Eventually, you're gonna get to a point like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really know who I'm related to after a certain point.
Because think about it, Nick.
What is the right number for people being raped, killed, slaughtered, their balls being chopped off, babies being cut out the womb? Dude, there is no right number.
Redlining, gentrification.
If you said 100 trillion, billion, gazillion dollars, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. What the fuck is the right number?
You know what the right number is? The right number is where black folk have their own economic base that is separate from every other racial group. We can have our own banks. We can have our own system. We don't even need, it's like being sovereign.
But we can start off with 20 million, but that shit, I don't even think that's enough.
You see what I'm saying? If they did that, that's a start. Where you've given enough bread to enough black folk where they don't have to work in your system. Like, this is what I mean, Nick, by the dominant society is not confident. They're very calculated and they're very brilliant and smart, but they're not confident. You know why? Because if they're confident, they'd be like, all right, well, let's just give them the money. Let's see what they do.
How many foundational black Americans we got in this country? 400 million?
No, we have about 40 million foundational black Americans. I think it's about 40.
40?
About 40 or 50 million foundational black Americans. We're not talking about...
So let's just do 40.
Yeah, we'll do 40. It's about 40 of us. You doing the math?
So
Niggas doing the math.
That's $800 trillion. I just think it should be something like that where each black person has a certain number going to them instead of a lump sum being spread out. If you want to do it like that, that's fine. But let's not do okay, we gonna do $1 billion and you all have to split it up. Nah, man, we ain't doing that shit, man.
And you notice since Crazy Joe Biden, we had a conversation off the air about this. Nick had to remind me of some shit. I forgot about that. But you notice since Joe 94 Crime Bill Biden became the president, where you at, man? Where's the black agenda? Why are you not discussing what is owed to us? How is it Donald Trump could go on TV and say black folks built this country, but you won't even acknowledge the black community? But y'all gave Asians some money, though. They're about to sign some shit into law for the Asian community because of these allegedly black against Asian crimes. But when that Korean sister killed that young black girl in LA, that bitch was found not guilty. They ain't do nothing. Peter Liang shot and killed somebody. They came out in droves. This is what I mean by they're going to put every other racial group before black folk because they know what is owed to black folk. That's why every other racial group, if you watch, remember I told you this, Nick? Watch all the other racial groups. What they do is they become acclimated to the surrounding and then they try to duplicate the behavior of the dominant society. That's why they love to have black folk there because they can poke the bear and they can step all on black folk to look good in front of massa. You see what I'm saying? Because if you why do you think I told you they didn't like Donald Trump? Most racial groups hated him because he was an equal opportunity racist. He was a good old boy racist. From the South, down South. You know, down South country, they don't give a fuck. They calling all the other racial groups some type of racial epithet or something because they don't fuck with none of them. See, all the other racial groups is like, no, we don't want that. We want the anti-black racism.
Right.
Period. We don't care about racism towards Jews. And no, we
want the attention off us.
We want the attention off of us. And if they can keep the attention off of us, they've done their job.
Right.
Why do you think when you was talking about that police, those brothers, if you notice, not only were they evasive, they didn't call out a single white police officer for their bias towards black folk.
Right.
And you had so many examples. You have Mike Brown. Darren Wilson said, "Oh, Mike Brown, it was like Hulk Hogan grabbing a baby out of the car." Stop.
And what about George Zimmerman? He wasn't even the cop. He was neighborhood fucking watch.
And basically told on the phone. And he might as well been
a cop because they protected him just like as if he was a cop, man.
Exactly. And the stand your ground law. And then you have
George Floyd was on the ground handcuffed and fucking a knee in his fucking neck.
And the one of the other officers that was out there, he was Asian. I didn't see him protecting and serving no black folk. He let that shit go on. Standing there like it wasn't nothing going on.
Like it was another day.
Oh, there go Milton right there. Milton, man, what's going on, man? This is the brother that I was telling you about. He was telling me, shout out to this brother Milton. He was telling me it'd be a lot of racist shit going on in Canada. Now, I know racism,
everywhere,
white supremacy is everywhere. It's a global system. They dominate 9 areas of activity. So we know that.
Especially Canada's owned by fucking England. So, yeah.
Exactly. I'm about to say, yeah. Well, like Godfrey said on Lord Jamar's podcast, I don't know if you watched that podcast. You got to watch it. Godfrey was like, hey, man, isn't like Europe and Great Britain like the headquarters for racism? Because think about it.
Right.
It is, until you read a book called Ancient and Modern Britons 1 and 2. Very difficult read, but it is a good book. And it's written by this dude named David McRitchie. And you know what? I'm going to show you this book. He breaks down all the Europe shit. So anybody, Nick, whose last name is McDouglas, McDonald, McDougal, guess what they are? They're descendants of a Moor. Because Moors ruled Europe. You see what I'm saying? So he breaks all that shit down. Oh, it's dope. Just like Nature Knows No Color line, that's Queen Charlotte. She's a Moor. That's Queen Elizabeth's great-great-grandmother. People don't know that. That's why it's so funny to watch her treat Meghan Markle all fucked up, but your great-great-grandmother is black.
Right.
And to be royal, you have to be of Moorish blood. People don't know that. They don't know that. That's why it's so true what you said about Canada being racist. And I knew it, but to hear it from somebody,
it's just that Canada gets the nice.
They get the nice, because allegedly it's not as much crime in Canada as it is everywhere else. But this brother Milton was telling me on the app, because I met him on the Billy Carson app, and he was like, basically, he's like, bro, it's hella fucking racist out here. He was like, don't get it twisted. And that goes to your point. England, in the Canada connection, so of course it'd be racist out there.
But if you go back farther enough, and you're gonna have to go back a long ways, we all come from Africa. Like I said, the lighter you are was the motherfuckers that went and ventured out first.
Or in the Caucasus Mountains, as Money, not Money Mike, but as Cat Williams would say, that is a Caucasian man from the Caucasus Mountains.
So racism, man, it's the dumbest shit in the world, man, and yet society fucking puts it in our heads every day, man. Like I said, through TV, through your fucking core plantation, through going outside and just seeing some shit, man. But yet you come from black people.
Well, Meryl Streep said that.
Said what?
Meryl Streep said that we come from black people. She said that. You right, man. They know that. But you know what it is, Nick? It's just like the core plantation. Plausible deniability. Deflection. Hey, man. We went over the time by 20 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening and subscribing. Tasha, you know what it is. We got to chat, too. My sister got some shit coming up in the way. I can't wait till she get that shit popping, because I'm definitely going to be putting that on here. Hey, man, shout out to my boy Milton, man. Me and him, we just met on this app, because, I posted on Billy Carson's app. Billy Carson's a smart motherfucker. So I posted on his app, And then he just happened to come across it, and he hit me up. He was like, "Hey, bro, I like what you was talking about, whoop whoop." And I was like, "All right." And then he started telling me about Canada, and I was like, "Okay, that's what it is." So shout out to that brother, Shawnee, Miss Wendy, Tamisha, everybody that's out there. I fuck with y'all. You already know what it is. Hey, man, make sure you handling business, reading and studying. I appreciate it. Me and Nick will see y'all on Saturday. What time we doing on Saturday? 6? Yeah, we going to do it at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Hey, man, if you up here talking about you don't see color, guilty, nigga. We out, man. Peace.